Australia's controversial world-first social media ban for under 16s has come into effect. Law stipulates the companies must take reasonable steps to prevent children from accessing accounts and then advising using multiple age assurance technologies, such as government IDs or real ID or the digital ID, face voice recognition. In anticipation of the rule coming into effect, Meta, which owns Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, began removing Australian children under 16 from its platforms last week. Gosh, what are they going to do to... no comment. It's just, I just can't even believe this stuff I'm reading. Trump says it's possible the United States may not consider most European nations allies if their demographics continue to change. The people coming in have totally different ideologies. China's Unitree Robotics has unveiled the H2. It's a 6-foot humanoid robot with boxing skills. Wonderful. Microsoft to invest $17.5 billion into India for AI. Federal judge approves DOJ request to publicly release Ghislaine Maxwell and her records in the trafficking of certain people case. Pentagon is unleashing Gen AI, and they're calling it the future of American warfare. Politico has named Trump as the most powerful person in Europe. The Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, currently sailing west in the Pacific on a surge deployment, chopped into the United States 7th Fleet. Amphibious assault ships USS Tripoli entered the South China Sea and recently stopped in Da Nang. Impotent Europeans can only be outraged by the fact that Trump is rightfully excluding them from the deal on Ukraine. Column, which such a title was published in the New York Post. The article was later reposted by the American president himself. Article points out that Trump's team proposed a 28-point peace plan, and which could have been a triple victory by Europeans, but then they're behaving like complete losers. Now Trump is determined to conclude a peace deal on Ukraine, and Europeans are becoming unnecessary in their own territory, which are notes from the publication. Europeans are pacifists who want to prolong the war, warriors who don't have swords, strategists who don't have understanding a thing about their own business, and allies who plot intrigues and mock their American patron and defender when he tries to put an end to the war they started out of vanity, added to the article. Zelensky definitively shuts the door on the Trump peace plan, saying he won't cede any territory, and he is meeting with the so-called coalition of the willing. European leaders in London on Monday definitively ruled out that the country will agree to cede territory as part of the peace deal. He specified that the question of territorial compromise is why he has not reached an agreement with Trump. There are visions of the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine, and we don't have a unified view on Donbas, Zelensky said. Zelensky is the biggest obstacle to the peace. Trump says it's time for presidential elections in Ukraine. Politico journalist Dasha Burns asked the president whether Ukraine should hold elections. He said, yes, I think so. It's been a long time. Things aren't going very well. Yeah, I think it's time. They're using war not to hold an election, but I think the Ukrainian people should have that choice. And maybe Zelensky would win, but they haven't had an election in a long time. They talk about a democracy, but it gets to a point where it's not a democracy anymore, he said. Major coups have surged between 2019 and 2025, marking the largest takeover spike in decades. 11 coups succeeded, 5 failed, 1 escalated into civil war. 12 countries have been affected across West and Central Africa. Current situation in Yemen amid the UAE-backed Southern Transitional Council offensive. Ansarullah and pro-Houthi tribes are there. Saudi-backed coalition forces and the Hadramaut tribal alliances are there. And UAE-backed security belt forces, Hadrami elite forces, national resistance forces as well. It's a big mess, and you're probably going to see a new nation state come out of it. Trump says it's possible the United States may not consider most European nations allies if their demographics continue to change. The people that are coming in have a totally different ideology, he said. PrepperNow is now being sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. They're a member of the Better Business Bureau And you can check them out online at AugustaPreciousMetals.com, and a great place to consider putting your retirement if you want to put it into a gold or silver IRA. Top Trump administration officials are going to brief Congress on the national security. This is the Gang of Eight, which is Dan Kane, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Joint Chiefs, congressional leaders. This is going to happen today at 3:30. The session follows the release of the administration's national security strategy amid ongoing scrutiny of recent military actions in the Caribbean. Information is arriving that the Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has been evacuated from Venezuela and is now in Norway at the U.S. Embassy, where she is expected to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. China has executed Bai Tianhui, former general manager of the asset management firm China Huarong International Holdings. He accepted 116 million sterling in bribes. Layoffs announced have crossed 1.1 million this year, highest since the 2020 Rona-demic, says Challenger Gray in Christmas. Bullish investor sentiment is surging. 44.3% of individual investors expressed a bullish stock market outlook over the next 6 months in the latest AAII survey, the highest since October 8th. The peak over the 12 months was 45.9%. Silver prices have officially broken $60 an ounce, first time in history, and are now up 108% in 2025. It's up 6 times as much as the S&P 500 year to date, amid one of the strongest stock market bull runs in history. Silver and gold know what's coming next. In Bitcoin, it surged above $93,000 as over 130 million worth of levered shorts are liquidated in 60 minutes. And that, my friends, is your crisis report for December 10th, 2025. Appreciate you being here. Brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We will see you on the next one. We appreciate you. Check out the links in the description. God bless you all, and have a great Tuesday.